What's up, everybody? You know who it is. It's World of Wrestling here today to discuss about Random Wrestling Talk, episode number 50. We are on number 50 for today. We're going to discuss about WWE Monday Night Raw from 2022. Uh, excuse me, Raw. What the hell? All right. Having a little bit of technical difficulties with this headphone. Anyway, as I was saying, we are going to have the review on the Raw from last night for February 2023, February 20th, 2023 review. And we're going to go over quite a few other things, such as the entire the news on WWE and AEW. So we will go over all that stuff and kind of cover some of those things. So this is going to be a pretty decent size episode of Random Wrestling Talk. So sit back, relax. Hopefully I get some people in here. I had a few people in here. Thank you for the like, by the way. Appreciate that. And we will go ahead and get started on the Raw review that we watched last night. This Raw personally, um, was not bad. It was pretty decent. It wasn't the greatest Raw in the world, but in comparison to what we have seen over the years, I don't think we should be complaining all that much. So give me a second to pull this up. All right. The main event on this episode from last night was actually Edge versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship, which was a decent main event. Um, Give me one moment here. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, having a little bit of issues with this headset as well. I don't know what the hell the deal is with the headset. But anyway, let's go ahead and cover the Monday Night Raw episode from last night. And basically, the main thing was the Sami Zayn situation, Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman. Those were really the top tier important things that occurred on the show, along with the main event of Austin Theory and Edge. Other than that, this show was pretty whatever. I mean, if you missed it, it's not a big deal. If you caught it, you're not missing a whole lot anyway, type of situation. So let's get right into it. Sami Zayn music's hit, and he makes his way to the ring to a huge ovation. Zayn looks fired up as the crowd sings his song. Zayn gets in the ring and just stands there. Pretty much thanks the Ottawa crowd for thanking him and giving him praise. Um, Cat Inkpen says, I only watched half of Raw, missed Edge versus Austin Theory. That was actually a good match, Cat. So if you got any way of going back and watching that one match, it would be worth your time to go ahead and catch that. But everything else, I mean, in the last hour wasn't all that big of a deal. But the actual match in the main event was pretty damn good. Um, Except the ending. The ending you might disagree with, or you might understand where they were going with it. Um, which I'll go over. Um, so Sammy pretty much thanks the Ottawa crowd. uh, yes, we know Edge versus Balor is pretty much set in stone. Hangpen says I can if I'm really that motivated, but okay. um, but yeah, this was pretty much him thanking the Ottawa crowd for their appreciation for his hard work and what he was doing from Saturday in the Elimination Chamber pay per view against Roman Reigns. He felt though he let everyone down by not completing his story and winning the WWE Championship belts. Um, he then says that he would like to call out um, someone by the name of Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens' music hits and he comes out to the ring to a good ovation. Owens has his head down and looks unsure. The crowd buzzes as they stand in the ring. Zayn says he has so much to say, but now that Owens is here, he doesn't know what to say. Zayn is emotional. Zayn wants to thank him and apologize to him. Zayn knows they're way past words. Things got messy and things have been done that might not that might be no coming back from. Owens has said for months that he only cares about taking down the bloodline. Zayn knows Owens that when he has something in his head, nothing will stop him. Zayn has a mission. Zayn will not rest until Roman Reigns and the bloodline come crumbling down. Owens couldn't do it alone. Neither could Zayn. There is only one way to get it done together. The crowd loudly cheers. Matt 87 Eagle says, well, we'll just see if we get Brood Edge versus Demon Balor inside Hell in a Cell. We're not getting that, by the way. Matt 87 Eagle. I actually looked this up. The Demon Finn Balor is going to be nixed. They are not using it for the pay per view at WrestleMania. So we may see Brood Edge, but Demon Balor will not be taking place at all. Owens walks around and thinks about it. Owens says he doesn't need an apology or gratitude. Saturday had nothing to do with Zayn. Owens did it for his family. Saturday, they were in the front row. At the Royal Rumble, they had to watch him get the hell beat out of him from home while Zayn stood by and watched. Owens did it for him as well as Zayn's family, so they didn't have to watch him get the hell beat out of him as his family did. Owens has been fighting the bloodline for months on his own. As far as he's concerned, that's fine, and he'll keep doing that. Owens still means everything he said in November after Survivor Series. Owens told Zayn he was done with him and meant it. If Zayn needs help, he can ask his buddy Jey Uso. Owens walks off on Zayn, and that's pretty much what happens. This was actually really good, and there's a lot of pretty much a lot of questions and answers, which leaves you as a viewer wanting more, wanting to know answers and what the hell is going on with Kevin Owens, what's going to happen with Sami Zayn. Ultimately, we know what's going to happen. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will be competing against the Bloodline, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso for those tag team titles. So that is what we're going to get. I don't care what the fuck they try to sway at people. I don't give a shit. The only other thing they could change here is that they go ahead and they do a fatal four-way match with Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn in the main event of WrestleMania Night 2. Now this could work. Now I'll explain why. The reason why I say this could work is because of the fact that we could see Sami Zayn get pinned by Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns does not have to suffer the pinfall, but he loses the championships. We get Cody Rhodes to turn heel, and eventually we kind of build up towards that, and then eventually we see Cody Rhodes turn heel at the end of the day. This would eventually lead to Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes going at it at SummerSlam over the WWE World Championship belts. That's the option they could go with. I mean, unless they change the belt and turn it into a different title, which is possible. There was talks about Cody wanting a new championship once he won the World Heavyweight Championship. But um I feel that it's more likely going to lead to a Sami Zayn Kevin Owens matchup against the uh the Usos for the tag team titles at the end of the day. This is not going to be anything special. They are just swaying you, trying to, you know, give you twists and turns to it. But at the end of the day, it's still going to end up being the exact same thing we have been expecting for months, that the tag team titles will be defended against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and we will see Cody and Roman Reigns for the world championships. And that's it. They can do all the swing and twists and turns they want. They're not going to be able to change the outcome or the situation with the world championships. It's going to be exactly the way it is. Do I expect Cody to win? I don't know. There's a possibility he might not win. He may lose. Roman Reigns may retain the championship. It all depends on how crowd reaction turns out um with Cody Rhodes. If Cody Rhodes is being liked by the crowd, for all we know, we may see Cody become the new world champion. Otherwise, we may see Roman Reigns retain the championships, and Cody may take a nice walk down whatever. Matt87 Eagle says that sounds too complicated. Just keep it Usos versus Sami Zayn and KO at night 1 and Reigns versus Cody at night 2. I'm not saying anything complicated. I'm just saying that there is a possibility, if they wanted to really make things a little bit crazy and chaotic and unpredictable, is put Sami Zayn and KO in the world championship match, because all three men with Roman Reigns have a purpose and a story with Roman Reigns. Cody won the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn has a beef with Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens has had beef with Roman Reigns for the last 3 years. Since late 2020, he has been competing over the Universal Championship and now over the undisputed Universal Championship belts. So there's a lot going on with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Sami Zayn has a story with Roman Reigns, and now Cody does, especially with winning the Royal Rumble. So all three competitors have a purpose of challenging for the world titles. You asked, where does that leave the Usos? That's the major problem. You're 100% correct. Where does the Usos have their big story? Because they have a lot going on with Sami Zayn, especially with Jey Uso. And KO, I don't know if KO has so much of a story with the Usos as much as he does for the world championship. But we have got to see Jey Uso pull the fucking trigger already and turn on Sami Zayn. I hope we see that Friday night and we get on with the damn legitimate story that we're all here to see, and that's to see the Usos be challenged by Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the tag team titles. That's what I thought was going to happen at Saturday's event at the Elimination Chamber, but we did not get that. Was the match still great for what it was? Absolutely. But we did not get the necessary turn by Jey Uso at the end of the day. We needed that change, and we didn't get that. We just got Jey Uso sitting on the fence still, trying to figure out what the fuck he's going to do, when he should have just pulled the fucking trigger on Sami Zayn at the end of the day. We didn't get that. So I'm really lost in what's going on here, but I still believe they're going to stay the course and continue what they've been doing from the get-go, and that's have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win the tag team titles. That's it. Plain and simple. And that should be the main event of night 1. Night 2 should be about the world titles. And the Usos should turn on Roman Reigns for Roman Reigns acting the way he did at the beginning of WrestleMania night 2. I think at night 2, we should see Roman Reigns in the backstage with them, very upset with the Usos and pissed off that they lost their tag team titles. And now the Bloodline are losing belts. This would infuriate both the Usos at the end of the day, and they turn on Roman Reigns. The other option is they have Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns with Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman become a thing. Now, I don't know if that's really legitimate. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that kind of angle. But that would be a very interesting twist, because I don't know if anybody's noticed, Paul Heyman has been a little bit upset with Roman Reigns' family, and he kind of feels, I kind of think it comes across from what I see is Paul Heyman sees his family as a distraction for Roman Reigns, because we all know what Paul Heyman's all about. He's about representing the guy that has the world championship. That's what he cares about. He don't give a fuck about anybody. If you go back from 2022, the early portion of that, he left Roman Reigns for Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar was the WWE champion. It's that fucking simple. So he wanted to represent both. Roman didn't want that, so he just was forced out. And then all of that was turned on Brock Lesnar at the end of the day with this bogus fucking storyline in Royal Rumble of 2022 last year. So, honestly, I'm not quite sure. There's a lot of different angles they can go with. It seems a little bit weird how they're just making this more complicated than they have to. Just stay the course, make everything simplistic. Don't make it complicated. It's just going to make it harder on you guys creatively as you move forward towards WrestleMania. I just think it's the right way to go. Matt Ace Evan Eagle says he thinks that we need to see a face-off between Reigns and Cody ASAP. Yes, I agree with that. I think we should see that on Friday Night SmackDown. I mean, granted, Friday Night SmackDown is the place where Roman Reigns hangs out at, so why not see that take place this coming Friday? I mean, we ain't got much time left here. By next week, we'll be moving towards Revolution for March 5th for their pay-per-view in AEW, and then we got like less than 4 weeks left after that. So yeah, they definitely need to push the narrative here and get this shit moving along and stop dragging their feet with this storyline, or it's just going to be an absolute travesty and a joke. Matty 7 Eagle also says they can't build a story between just Heyman and Cody. Yeah, I understand that, and I get it. So I get where you're coming from. All right, let's continue here. So Austin Theory will defend the WWE US Championship against Edge. Bayley will host a Ding Dong Hello with special guest Damage Control. Blah, blah, blah. All right, whatever. So Baron Corbin attacks Sami Zayn after this segment was over. There was a match, an impromptu match that was started. Sami Zayn wins the matchup. Most of it was spent through picture-in-picture, truthfully. Baron Corbin loses another match. Once again, this guy is getting buried. Why do we need to see him on TV? The only reason why we saw him attacking Sami Zayn is because the segment backstage last week, he was interrupted by Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. So he was not very happy with that. And both guys beat the shit out of him. So it doesn't really matter. All right. So Rhea Ripley sitting alongside Dominic Mysterio. There'll be an exclusive interview coming up next. So Brian Saxon's backstage with Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio for an exclusive interview. Saxon asks about the Judgment Day coming up short against Edge and Beth Phoenix. Rhea Ripley says after they went toe to toe, Phoenix said that Ripley is the real deal. Ripley says they have unfinished business, but she's fully focused on WrestleMania. Saxon goes to ask a follow-up question, and Dominic Mysterio cuts him off. Mysterio says Edge and Beth Phoenix has been like his deadbeat dad. They're not worth talking about. Mysterio warns Saxon if he asks stupid questions, he'll find out what he did to people he was locked up with who talk too much. Oh, wow. He's a real tough guy. What a fucking joke. Saxon says they can talk about SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. How does Ripley respond to Flair saying she taught Ripley a lesson 3 years ago and this time she will put her in her place? Ripley says Flair can keep living in 2020. The only reason why Flair talks about 3 years ago is that she refuses to believe what everyone else can see. In the present, Ripley is the best bloody woman in WWE. As for lessons being learned, the only lesson is that Rhea Ripley doesn't make the same mistake twice. If Flair wants to put Ripley in her place at WrestleMania, then good. Ripley's place is standing on Flair's crumbled queendom as SmackDown Women's Champion. Saxon asks what they can expect on Friday when Ripley goes face to face with Flair. Ripley says he'll have to wait to find out. And Mysterio says his father has a match that night, so he'll tag along. And Ripley says that's a good idea and ends the interview at that point. So we see replays are shown of Logan Paul interfering in the U.S. Championship match. Paul attacked Seth Rollins with a buckshot lariat and a stomp, a curb stomp, and there he defeated Rollins to retain the championship. So later that evening at the Elimination Chamber press conference, Theory made an open challenge for the U.S. Championship, and Edge accepted the challenge at the end of the day. So she's back. Kathy Kelly is backstage with the U.S. champion. She asks how he feels about heading into a match against Edge after just winning the Elimination Chamber. Theory says he's the champ. On Saturday, he defeated 5 other superstars inside the chamber. Everything Theory says happens. What bothers him is the headline. It should be about him, but instead it says John Cena is coming back to Raw in 2 weeks. Where's the respect for Theory? Tonight, he'll defeat a Hall of Famer and Edge in his home country of crappy Canada. The crowd went nuts and got really mad at that. Theory will never lose this title. Dolph Ziggler makes his way to the ring. He will face Mustafa Ali. This was a joke match. Mustafa Ali wins the match by a roll-up pinfall and defeats Dolph Ziggler in less than 5 minutes. Unfucking believable. All right. Matt 87 Eagle says, get boring Corbin off our damn TVs. Absolutely. Alyssa Stansberry says, Cody Rhodes better win the title. WrestleMania think time. Roman Reigns go vacation months he needs right off TV. Okay. Well, that's your viewpoint on that. If you believe he needs to be written off, I mean, I think he will be. Truthfully, I think it's time for him to take some time off. And we ought to see Cody Rhodes become the world champion. That's just the way I feel about it. Matt 87 Eagle says a match between 2 losers. Why should we care who who wins? Well, it is what it is, I don't really give a shit. So we see The Miz kissing Maurice backstage. Kathy Kelly wants an interview and runs up when they finally stop locking lips. Maurice quickly returns with a golden envelope. Miz looks shocked and says he'll reveal what is inside next week. This is almost a big as half court shot at the Celebrity All-Star game. Kelly reminds him that it didn't count. She asks about the Rick Boogs matches. Miz says they are controversial. Miz is happy that his former protege Logan Paul took out Seth freaking Rollins, and we'll hear from Cody Rhodes next. Divorce papers. Oh, that's what the golden sheet is, that Maurice wants a divorce. That's a good one. So, wrestling has more than one family. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes makes his way to the ring. The winner of the 2023 Royal Rumble match shakes hands with fans. The crowd loudly chants for Cody as he stands in the ring. Rhodes begins to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Heyman is in a neck breaks, appears on the big screen with the WWE Undisputed Championship belts. Rhodes asks Heyman, where is he? Heyman says he's backstage, so Rhodes invites him into the ring, and Heyman says he isn't sure if Rhodes is aware of this, but he was mauled by a KO-matic, and has been victimized by the Canadian healthcare system. What should have been a celebration weekend for the tribal chief wound up being a tragedy, wound up being a tragedy for the wise man. However, the true tragedy of the story that Rhodes wants to finish will befall upon him. Heyman asks Rhodes to hear him out. Heyman says Rhodes cannot beat Roman Reigns. The crowd can boo all they want, but let's go on the hypothetical and play to the fantasy. Let's say the gods smile upon Rhodes and the devil collects Heyman's debt. Let's say Rhodes beats Reigns for the title. What will life be like? Has Rhodes ever heard the phrase indentured servitude? People think that isn't the life of Roman Reigns. Reigns has special counsel. Reigns has Paul Heyman. If Rhodes beats Reigns for the title, he won't have Paul Heyman with him. Now, that is actually an interesting comment right there. He won't have Paul Heyman with him. Think about it, guys. He threw that out there, but in reality, who's to say that Paul Heyman doesn't turn on Roman Reigns and changes his mind in the middle of the match and says, you know what? Let me just go with Cody Rhodes and be with him. He has got a shot at this. I don't believe this. These guys got a history. They have some kind of a little bit of a bond, a personal bond, friendship type of deal going on between them. They have respect for each other in the sense. And what would be better for Paul Heyman but to turn on Roman Reigns and get away from the drama-filled bullshit of Roman Reigns' family? This guy cares about one thing, being in the spotlight with the world champion. He wants to be relevant. Without the titles, he's nothing. Roman Reigns is nothing without the tribal chief being the champion. So if he's seeing Cody Rhodes is on the verge of winning and Roman Reigns kicks out, but he sees that Cody's got a good shot, why wouldn't he go ahead and take advantage of it and betray Roman Reigns? He's done this before. History can repeat itself. Just think about it. He also mentions about all the hours he would have to put in, the time he would have to be putting in, being the world heavyweight champion. And he is able to help Roman Reigns with that because of the fact he's involved with Roman Reigns on a personal level. So with that being said, why not do it with Cody Rhodes? Now, he did make a derogatory remark. He said, Roman Reigns would never say that he would keep your wife warm. I mean, that's not him. He's a happily married man, but I'm not. So, I mean, he took a low blow, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we could see Cody Rhodes have Paul Heyman by his side at the end of all this. This could be a very interesting turn of events. We could see Jey Uso turn on Roman Reigns. This is where all the story came from. It's from Jey Uso. So we could see that happen even. Anything could happen at this point in time. Everything is possible. The only thing that I don't think is possible is restructuring the World Heavyweight Championship match. I think the match needs to remain as is and not change. And same with the tag team titles, because you're just going to make things even more complicated. But they could go with a fatal four-way at the end of the day. But where did the tag team titles and the Usos come in all this? Because they're also a big part of this story. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Anyway, so what will Rhodes' life be like if he's the world champion? 200 days on the road defending the titles after 50 days of charity events. Now we're at 250, another 30 days of overseas tours, another 20 to 25 days of promotional events. That leaves about 60 days of Zoom and Skype calls for more. Even when he's home, he'll never be home, just like Dusty Rhodes taking shots at his old man. Okay. Pretty much trying to convince Cody Rhodes that he should not become the world champion because he won't have time to be around his family. Pretty fucking awkward, if you ask me. It's like as he might as well just lay down for Roman Reigns and let him retain the titles. Is that the sacrifice he's willing to make for these titles? Is Rhodes willing to sacrifice his family? Rhodes probably thinks that Heyman is going to say something vile about like Roman Reigns will keep his wife warm on those cold nights, but he won't. Roman Reigns is a happily married man, but Heyman isn't. Rhodes will find out that his WrestleMania dreams will become his own personal nightmare. Heyman takes his microphone clip off and throws it. Rhodes seethes in anger in the ring and paces around. Rhodes says Roman Reigns is great, but he has seen this play before. Do not sin this man again. They haven't come face to face yet, but it will probably be very soon. Yeah, like this fucking Friday, hopefully. Rhodes will say the same thing now as he will then. Reigns is without a doubt the greatest undisputed WWE Universal Champion ever and the best champion in sports. But that doesn't change anything. Rhodes has to finish the story and beat him at WrestleMania. So that's the deal. This was a very oddball promo. It's like trying to convince Cody Rhodes to not even bother trying to chase after the world championship, which to me seems a little fucking odd and weird. It's a weird dynamic way of constructing a promo, in my personal opinion. Lissa Stansberry says Asuka, Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley better get a moment, more deserve moments for them. Okay, well, I mean, I think you'll get what you want. Matt 87 Eagle says Heyman didn't say his spoiler catchphrase, just saying that was cold. Or just saying that was odd. Yeah. Like I said, there's a possibility Paul Heyman could turn on Roman Reigns and join with Cody Rhodes. It really could turn out to be that way. We could see Roman Reigns get fucked over by the wise man. It's happened before. We've seen it. Who's the first person he was a mentor to? Brock Lesnar. Who did he turn on? Brock Lesnar with the Big Show. The moment he saw the Big Show had a chance of winning, or he didn't think he could do what he could do to the Big Show, he turned on him that moment at the pay-per-view at Survivor Series of 2002. He did that. So what's to hold Paul Heyman to stay loyal to the tribal chief Roman Reigns? Right now he's in the middle of the biggest issue that the bloodline has ever faced. They're dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of drama, a lot of problems in these storylines. Why in the hell would he sit there and wait for the ship to sink? Just get the fuck out of there and go with someone new. That's what he would do. That's all it is. It's that simple. Matt 87 Eagle says closest ally is most likely the worst kind of enemy. I don't know, man. I personally think that Paul Heyman might turn on Roman Reigns at the pay-per-view at WrestleMania. And we may see Cody Rhodes become the world champion by a screwjob finish. Not by the Usos, but by Paul Heyman, and Cody becomes a heel. That's the truth. I really believe that's what's going to happen. Daniel says, "Hey man, what's up? What's up, Daniel? I don't know if you followed Raw yesterday, but man, they left a lot of gaps in the show with a lot of questions and no answers to. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but hopefully they can make sense of it and make it a really good match and like good storyline build. Because right now they're just trying to throw people curveballs and make them confused, trying to make people think they're going to alter or change anything, which they could, but I don't know. They may make things a lot worse than what it already is. Just my viewpoint. Anyway, let's continue on here. All right. So Asuka and Nikki Cross are next. This is nothing special. Asuka wins by submission against Nikki Cross. During the show, later on in the show, we did see Nikki Cross backstage, and she went ahead and was talking to Candice LeRae and told her that she's lost all of her friends, and that's why she's been following Candice LeRae around for the last month or so. Very odd. Very childish, in my opinion, if you ask me. Raw Women's Champion after the match was over, Bianca Belair gets in the ring and faces with Asuka. Belair points to the WrestleMania sign as Asuka looks like she's going to throw up and spits out a blue liquid before laughing. Belair looks frightened by this. It's mind games, folks. It's mind games. Mental warfare is what this is called. Something The Undertaker used to do all the time. Matt 87 Eagle says Paul E. Dangerously has a record of backstabbing his guy for the next big star. Yes, sir, that is correct. 100%. Who's to say that he doesn't do that to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes? Just saying. All right. Kathy Kelly's backstage with Carmella as asked about her WrestleMania plans. Carmella says she hasn't come up with a new game plan in 48 hours. Carmella says she'll deliver a hell of a receipt to Asuka because Mella is money, and Carmella walks off. So they are planned for next week, a one-on-one match. Not that I'm really looking forward to this. This is just an easy win for Asuka to continue to build momentum going into WrestleMania. Kathy Kelly sees Seth Rollins, though, and asks for a comment on Logan Paul. Rogan Waynes. What the fuck? Rollins says Logan Paul has now ruined his WrestleMania plans twice, even hitting him with his own move. The joke is on Paul. Logan Paul may not be familiar with a certain side of Rollins, but anyone who has gotten in his way knows that side all too well. Rollins will find Logan Paul and hurt him. And since Logan Paul isn't here tonight, the man who wants to make credit for all Paul's success, The Miz, seems like a perfect surrogate for suffering. And Rollins laughs and walks away. He definitely plays a Joker-like mentality on these TV shows. I'll tell you that much. All right, so we get replays shown of Brock Lesnar destroying Bobby Lashley and the referee Chad Patton at the Elimination Chamber. Lesnar got himself disqualified to save himself from the Hurt Lock. We go backstage to MVP, and MVP says that Brock Lesnar is a coward. Lesnar couldn't escape the Hurt Lock and got himself disqualified. Almost. Oh my goodness, almost. This is a fucking joke and a half, man. When I heard this, my jaw hit the floor. This is really what they got planned for Brock Lesnar. This is what he's okay with doing. Boy, has Brock Lesnar's career went down the fucking toilet. Can't put him in a world championship match, so put him with a shitty ass competitor to face up against at WrestleMania. I hope this is not true and they sway away from this. MVP says almost wants to challenge Brock Lesnar to a match at WrestleMania. Please, someone spare me the travesty and a horrible moment in time on this match card from Brock Lesnar and almost. I would rather see Brock Lesnar not even be on the show, period. I think this is bullshit. MVP tells Lesnar to show up next week to accept the challenge if he has the intestinal fortitude, and almost looks intensely into the camera. Whoa, wow. Really captivating shit right here. All right, so we get Miz and Seth Rollins in a one-on-one match. Of course, Seth Rollins wins the match with the with 3 curb stomps and knocking Miz unconscious. So Miz has pretty much gotten his ass kicked more times than you can shake a stick. It's time to take his ass off of TV at this point. I hope that was his way of taking him off TV. Matt A7 Eagle says, "Oh my God, why are we getting Lesnar versus Almost? Is that the penalty he gets for attacking a referee?" I'd rather see him off television completely, if you want to be honest. I don't want to see Lesnar going up against fucking Almost. Give me a break. Or Omos, whatever the fuck you call the son of a bitch. What a fucking joke. So Carmella talks to Adam Pearce backstage after the match was over with Miz and Seth Rollins. And Pearce grants her the match with Asuka next week. We then get a call from Chelsea Green on Adam Pearce's cell phone. This was retarded. Did not like this. Thought it was shit. Garbage as fuck. And Pearce says in Grand Rapids, Michigan next week. So book her on that show. Pearce then says he has to bad connection, hangs up on her in the middle of this conversation. Big fucking whoop-de-doo. I don't care for Chelsea Green. I don't even care for what they're doing with her at this point. Pearce walks by Alpha Academy trying to model backstage. Chad Gable doesn't get what the maximum male models aren't seeing in him. Maybe it's a gift from God that you should really appreciate that they don't see anything in you, because let's be honest, creatively, the maximum male models is absolutely the worst fucking thing on this show. I'd even have to say it's worse than Baron Corbin. Jeez, man. Anyway, Bronson Reed says Gable can get ready to model a full body cast when he's through with him. Otis says no one talks to Master Gable like that, and Reed walks off. What a joke. Then we get Ding Dong Hello segment. They pretty much the whole basis of this. I'm not going to go through a full-on read on what happens. Basically, the whole thing was talking about how great the tag team champions are for the women's division, and them basically saying how great they are. Dakota Kai's in a fucking with a crutch. She has a leg injury at this point. I don't even know how she's going to wrestle. But what's her face? Becky Lynch shows up. She goes ahead and says, "How about I've WrestleMania is coming up. I'd like to be a champion before WrestleMania. So why don't I challenge you two for the tag team titles?" And they say, "What tag team partner do you have?" Out comes Lita. So Lita is now the tag team champion. From what I heard, Lita or Trish Stratus was supposed to be there. She was, but those plans got nixed. So she is no longer going to be a part of the storyline, and I can tell you why. Lita and Becky Lynch are going to win the tag team titles, and we are going to see Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler challenge for those tag team titles for the women's division. That's what we're going to see. We already see Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler together in this tag team on SmackDown now that Ronda Rousey's back. So chances are we're going to see them go at it WrestleMania for those tag team titles. Not a bad match, but still, with Ronda Rousey being the way she is, like, who gives a shit? She's not the same Ronda Rousey we knew back in 2018, 2019 run. It's not the same. Just saying. But yeah, Lita and her both said that they're both Hall of Famers. They've won multiple championships over their careers, and that's why they're deserving of the tag team titles. And Bayley said, okay, so let's go ahead and do the match anyway, even though the tag team champions did not want nothing to do with this. So yeah. Matt 87 Eagle says, any situation with Ronda Rousey just puts me to sleep. Okay, well, get prepared to get taken to sleep. I guess you might as well have CM Punk give you a GTS and knock your ass out for that one match on the card, as well as Brock Lesnar and Omos, if that even happens. God help us all if it does. But yeah, if you really need a little help on going to sleep, just have CM Punk come over to your house and give you a GTS, knee to the fucking head, and you'll be good to go. Anyway, Chad Gable goes up against Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed actually got German suplex by Chad Gable. During the matchup, though, Maxine Dupree distracts Otis throughout the entire match. This is fucking pathetic. I'd rather it be Kenta. He created the move anyway. Oh, he's the one that created the move first? Holy shit. I didn't know that. Anyway, yeah, Maxine Dupree is distracting Otis during the matchup. Chad Gable's trying to get his attention so that he's not distracted. And Bronson Reed goes ahead and does a body splash in the corner. And then after that, Reed does an avalanche to Gable from behind and hits a snap power bomb. And then Reed crushes Gable with the tsunami for the victory in the 1-2-3. So that's what happened there. Whoop-de-fucky do. So a storyline that means nothing going in to WrestleMania. Big deal. A lot of filler stuff here. No solid things that are going to get you to think that these plans are going to go to WrestleMania. Outside of Austin Theory, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, there is nothing on this show worth giving a shit about. Not one. Elias is in the ring and hopes Rick Boogs is taking notes. This is a time of the year when legends come out and stars are made. There are no bigger star than Elias. Boogs is shown in the back taking notes. The question that has to be on everyone's mind right now is this: who wants to walk with Elias at WrestleMania? Not me. Especially after this. There's got to be someone that wants to stand center stage on the grandest stage with the greatest of them all, or grandest of them all. Bobby Lashley's music hits. He gets to the ring. He destroys Elias, rips him to shreds. And then Lashley says everybody has a plan until he slaps the Hurt Lock on them. This past weekend, he put Brock Lesnar in the Hurt Lock. Lesnar panicked, and he had to resort to a low blow. Not Brock Lesnar, not Bray Wyatt, not Elias. Nobody in that locker room breaks the Hurt Lock. Sounds like Christopher Masters, or Chris Masters. Lashley will not be disrespected by anyone in the locker room. If you disrespect him, he'll put you down. Lashley throws the microphone down and paces in the ring. And yet the crowd did not react to anything that occurred. Matt 87 Eagle says Ezekiel was better than Elias. That's fucking terrible to even say. Really fucked up to even say that, Matt, but whatever. So Brian Saxon's backstage with Edge. Saxon congratulates him on his Elimination Chamber victory, how he is feeling just moments away from the United States title match. Edge says the Judgment Day is in the rearview mirror. Beth Phoenix is back home with the girls. Now he can get back to his goals. Youth comes with ignorance. Nothing lasts forever. Edge says, with age comes wisdom. More than anyone else in the locker room, Edge knows how all of this can be taken away. Edge will smack the duck face off every overly manscaped head tonight. Edge hasn't held a title in a long time. That window is closing more and more every day. His second match in this company was here in 1997. Edge hasn't performed here in 18 years. It'll feel damn good to win it here and walk into WrestleMania as a U.S. champion. Never say never, is what he says. Now, I thought they were going to have Edge win this matchup and then face Finn Balor for the championship at WrestleMania. That I would have been okay with. I would actually like that. And I know I said before I would prefer Austin Theory walking away as champion at the Elimination Chamber, which they did. But losing to Edge, I don't think would be a bad deal. I didn't think that was going to be a bad deal because at least the title been utilized in a good storyline as well. So it would have been passed to another storyline to be used and be fought over. But they didn't do that either. So that's fine by me. Edge lost this match thanks to Finn Balor interfering in the matchup. But I'll be honest, I did not really have any major issues with the matchup. I thought the main event was really fun to watch, regardless of what happened at the end. So yeah, it was a very good matchup, good main event. Finn Balor, though, after the match was over, was beating him with a coup de grace, with several coup de grace actually, and that's how the show went off the air. So that was pretty much the entire show in a nutshell. I actually enjoyed this. I thought it was fun. For the few things that was on it, a lot of it was filler. I think they can do better than this, but they are starting to get better every single month. Every month they are building more and more layers to these storylines, especially with the Roman Reigns bloodline deal. I like everything that's going on here. Seth Rollins and Logan Paul, I'm okay with. I think that makes perfect sense, but based on what happened at the Royal Rumble. And there's so much going on in the main event that it's just unbelievable. So I'm very pleased with what they're doing here. I just wish these shows would had less filler and more importance in every segment. Because some of these segments don't even really matter, and people don't seem to give a shit, and they have no reason to care at this point. So Big On says, I don't watch today's modern day wrestling, but I'm getting the WWE 2K23 instead. Right now, I'm watching on YouTube the story of Edge versus Matt Hardy SummerSlam 2005. Yeah, that was actually a brutal fucking match. It didn't last that long. Continues to say, I watched the Ruthless Aggression era with Chris Benoit. I see why he's one of the best wrestlers ever. Yeah, he is a very good wrestler, man. It's terrible what he did at the end of his life, but as a in-ring performer, he was fucking fantastic at what he did. And there is nobody can doubt that at all. He's the best Canadian wrestler on the fucking planet ever. Bret Hart is the only man that can rival Chris Benoit in wrestling ability. And Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle and him had 3 of the best fucking matches. I think they had 3. Possibly 3. Yeah, they had 3 matches. One was on Smackdown. One was at the WrestleMania pay-per-view in 2001 at WrestleMania 17, and then they faced each other 2 years later at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view itself in 2003. And all three of those matches were fucking excellent. Very enjoyable stuff. And them being as a tag team at one point was fucking awesome as well. Very entertaining shit by the two of those guys. So those guys being tag team champions at one point was really cool to watch. They were very funny together and very entertaining. So yeah, I agree with you. Chris Benoit was one of the best wrestlers ever. It's just that he really didn't. He ended his life in a very terrible way. That's the only thing that taints his career, honestly. Dagon says, "How do you feel about them not putting Chris Benoit in WWE games anymore?" Well, it's only because of what he did in his personal life, killing his wife, himself, and his kid. That's the real reason why he's not in the games. I mean, you can't blame them for that reason. I mean, he did a very terrible thing. Whether it was because of what he did to himself mentally or what have you, the action was still terrible. It's not something to, really glorify in a video game in the sense of allowing a person like that in the game and having their name and their likeness being utilized. The only reason why he's in those videos, those TV shows, is because they'd have to cut out half of the fucking programming that they got on the show, and it wouldn't even be worth anybody's time to watch those replays of those shows. So that's why they leave it in there. But other than that, he ain't getting nowhere on any newer content such as like WWE video games ever. So you're never gonna see that. Um, but anyway, let's go ahead and get into the news. Kenny Omega was rumored that WWE is interested in purchasing Kenny Omega once his contract's up and utilize him on their roster. If this happens, folks, AEW is in deep shit. I'm just going to say that right now. And there's a lot of interest by WWE, and they see the possibility of taking out AEW with the use of getting fucking Kenny Omega. And they have a very valid point of doing so because of that. So there's a strong chance that's a possibility. It may happen. You never know. Also, something else I found. Errol Hawani details WWE reaction to Tony Khan tweet reply, addresses critics. Hawani reiterated that he is not a wrestling journalist, but yet he's on a wrestling show talking about how he loves pro wrestling or some shit like that. During the Monday edition of the MMA Hour, Errol Hawani went into detail about how his WWE experience in Montreal came to be, including his infamous reply tweet to AEW head Tony Khan and some pointed barbs at his critics. Hawani said he didn't know until Wednesday of last week that he was even going to Montreal. Following January's Royal Rumble, he had reached out to WWE about writing something to honor the event in Montreal, and WWE took him up on it. But he didn't hear back after he submitted it. He later followed up, and an agreement was made for him to do a voiceover and then attend both Elimination Chamber and Smackdown over the weekend, but there was nothing else arranged. He said he talked to someone backstage Friday who suggested that due to him being so tied to Montreal and for this being a big event, he should be part of the broadcast. He credited Triple H for making this happen and also shouted out Paul Heyman with helping him out with specific terminology and how he would deliver his message on Friday. He said initially He said he initially made it a point to not look at his phone backstage or while he was in the gorilla position and just let the moment be. However, when he did after his first appearance, he saw Tony Khan's tweet calling him a fraud and originally thought it wasn't him. Huani said that the tweet was an own goal, and he feels Khan is still upset about Huani's criticism about his 2022 interview with him being a bad one. He said Khan had turned down interviews in the past because of trepidations with Huani's relationship with Nick Khan and BT Sport. He then debated about whether he should reply and wanted to wait until after his second hit during Smackdown. He said Khan's tweet would have ruined the night for the old Huani, but he wasn't going to let that happen. Meanwhile, he said people were buzzing backstage about Khan's tweet toward him. Huani said he tweeted his reply on the way back home that night and felt bad for Tony Schiavone being mentioned by Khan. He never addressed why he specifically called Khan a snowman. Wow. Pretty fucking weird. He also threw a jab that only reason Khan was able to launch AEW is due to the finance of his father, and that while his own father is an immigrant, what he's built as an MMA journalist and personality is his own. Jeez Louise, man. You really got to go that fucking low? The guy was just upset that you haven't interviewed him because you're... What was it? Whatever the fuck it was. Who gives a shit? This is so stupid. So after the second hit, Huani said he was invited back to the next night when he arrived at the Elimination Chamber and was told he would be out in the crowd as part of the celebrity shot with George St. Pierre. He saw Michael Cole, and Cole said, "Just wait until you hear how I introduce you." It wasn't until Huani went backstage that he saw what Cole said and said people were giving him high fives. He joked his tweet toward Khan popped the boys in the back. Felt like I was part of the team, he said, later addressing his critics. If I disappointed you by doing this WWE appearance, I don't give a fuck. He said this was one half and there are no plans for him, or this is a one-off and there are no plans for him to do anything further. He even joked that he's up for hire for AEW and that they should do a fraud t-shirt. Wow, this guy's fucking reaching, man. He really wants to be involved in professional wrestling when he's an MMA journalist. He thought Khan tweeting that actually helped him be featured on the Elimination Chamber. Huani reiterated that I am not a wrestling journalist, saying for MMA he will not break that rule of working for a promotion, and revealed he was offered the change to do a voiceover for Fedor Emelianenko's last fight for Bellator MMA and turned it down. He said he wants to have fun and do things that give him joy, and that's what this WWE appearance was all about. Reiterating he doesn't do daily wrestling news or have a website like Dave Meltzer, and didn't understand the constant comparisons on social media all weekend. He did get paid by WWE, whereas he initially turned it down for the first video package voiceover that he offered last year. He said that when he was hired by BT Sport, it was primarily for UFC, but Dana White threw a fit and they then moved him to do WWE interviews instead. When he added he thinks Sami Zayn should have beaten Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. Thank God that didn't happen. Holy shit. Wow, there's a lot of comments in here. All right. Let me read this. Big On says they said Chris Benoit did was the downfall of WWE. Yeah, that is true. If you look at the history since 2007, since he had that incident, WWE's really went down the fucking toilet. They have not been the same. Matt 87 Eagle says WWE's beating this TK thing like a dead horse. Okay. Big On says people gonna be playing AEW in WWE 2K23. No, there's going to be an AEW Fight Forever video game, which I'm going to get. I am not getting the WWE 2K23 game until I hear what makes this game so different from 2K22, because I'm not seeing much of a difference. So if I hear fans stating things differently about this and how it might be somewhat different, the gameplay might be the same, but the game modes might be different and so forth, then I may take an interest in getting it when I can get it for a dirt cheap price deal. But I am not spending $69.99 for that piece of shit. I'd rather get the AEW Fight Forever game. Big On says how they're gonna put Stacy Keibler on 2K23, but not also Tori Wilson. I don't know. I don't particularly care. I really don't. All right, let's go into some other news here. Give me 1 second here. All right, backstage news on WWE nixing the return of Finn Balor's demon gimmick. WWE reportedly had plans to bring back the demon version of Finn Balor. We've noted how Demon Balor versus the Brood version of the WWE Hall of Famer Edge is rumored for Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania 39. WWE had plans for Edge versus Balor inside the cell to take place at the Royal Rumble last month, but Edge's filming schedule prevented the build and the match from happening. In an update, Fightful Select has not confirmed rumors on WWE planning for Balor to work as the Demon in the next cell match at the Royal Rumble. It was noted that some felt like the Demon didn't fit the current iteration of the Judgment Day, so people were against using the gimmick in this situation. However, others felt like the cell match at the Rumble would have needed the extra buzz of the Demon returning. There's no word yet on when WWE will announce Edge versus Finn Balor cell match for WrestleMania 39, if that is still the direction. There's also no word on if they will use the Demon and Brood personas to the end of the lengthy feud. Balor has used the Demon just 7 times on the main roster. Last time we saw Demon was Balor lost current undisputed champion Roman Reigns in the 2021 Extreme Rules pay-per-view, which absolutely sucked. And that's all. So there's a possibility we may not even see the Demon Balor, nor will we see the Brood Edge. Pretty odd. All right, last thing, and then we will close up shop here. Cody Rhodes apologizes for the Raw segment. Cody Rhodes is well and truly on the road to WrestleMania and knows he'll now definitely face Roman Reigns at the event, but now he has issued an apology over his segment on WWE Raw. Cody Rhodes booked his place in the main event for WrestleMania 39 after he returned to the ring after months out with an injury to win the Men's Royal Rumble. While Rhodes' place in the main event of WrestleMania was assured, his opponent was anything but, as Sami Zayn challenged Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship. Reigns broke hearts in Montreal as he escaped with the title, meaning he will be the one to face the American Nightmare on the greatest stage of them all. On Raw in Ottawa, Cody was addressing his future when he was interrupted once again by Paul Heyman, this time shown on the video screen and wearing a neck brace following the stunner he received from Kevin Owens. Heyman got personal with Rhodes once again, discussing Roman Reigns' life on the road and going so far as suggest that he could be the one to keep Rhodes' wife warm at night. While fans expected a fierce rebuttal, Cody Rhodes, his mic time appeared to be cut short, something Rhodes addressed on social media. Sorry, the mic time got cut short, and apologies for losing my temporary bit. But more importantly, Ottawa, I wasn't sure you'd be interested in the merch of the American Nightmare. For the American Nightmare, boy, I was wrong. Thank you very much. And next time, hopefully, I'll be in action. Wonderful night. So that was pretty much it. So yeah, not a whole lot going on here. I mean, I've been able to cover stories, uh, but lately I've been a little bit behind on the news and rumors. I've been trying to keep up with the Raw and SmackDown shows, and I hate covering Raw after 3 hours of watching it. So that's why we've been getting Raw on Random Wrestling Talk more often than not. But I think we did a pretty decent job here with some of the news and rumors. And Kenny Omega is being rumored to be one of the guys that AEW might lose to WWE. If that happens, folks, I'm telling you, we have a huge problem for AEW. AEW might be in deep shit. That's all I'm saying. I hope that's not the case. I hope we see Kenny Omega remain with AEW, but there could be a possibility he might sway his mind, Triple H, and we may see him go to WWE. Or they already got Jay White going, so why not get Kenny Omega to go as well? I'm not sure. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much all I have to say at this time for Random Wrestling Talk episode number 50. I will be discussing the pay-per-view for Battle in the Valley for New Japan Wrestling with Sasha Banks as Mercedes Moné now, and Kairi Sane competing over the New Japan Wrestling Women's Championship, along with Tanahashi and Okada competing over the World Championship in New Japan Wrestling, and some other good matches that occurred on the show. So I did purchase that for $19.99 on Fight. So if you guys haven't seen it or interested in it, go ahead and purchase it. It's a very reasonable price for that pay-per-view, and check it out, because from what I've heard, it was actually a really good show. So I'm going to go ahead and check that out during this week, and I will go over it with you guys possibly during the weekend or just before Monday Night Raw goes on the air on Monday next week. So keep an eye out for that. But at this time, guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. And by the way, I forgot to read one other comment. Matt87 Eagle says, so the canon story is that God killed the demon gimmick. Whatever. Yes, that is correct, Matt. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will speak to you again tomorrow for AEW Dynamite review. All right. Speak to you later, guys. Bye.